After today's podcast, Monday, March 4th, 2024. It's MMAOB Daily Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Adam Martin, joined by my co-host here, Mr. Big Marcel. We're previewing UFC 299. I cannot wait to talk about this card, man. Like, this card is, from top to bottom, like one of the best cards I think I've ever seen. It's ridiculous. I think there's so many fights on this card that could easily headline these like fight night cards at the Apex, or even like a fight night card with an audience somewhere. I think this card is amazing. I know you agree with me, Marcel, right? Like, out of 10, I think this on paper, it could be a 10. I think on paper it's like close to a 10. What do you think?
I mean, I was shocked that we already had like 10 comments before we started the show. So I think this card is good. That's an understatement pretty much.
It's good.
Yeah, as an
I'd say it's more than good, bro. I agree. Amazing.
Yeah, it's true.
Now we'll see how it plays out because you never know. I mean, sometimes they turn into a stinker, but I can't see how this card's bad. Like, you just have too many guys that are exciting, right?
There are too many good fights on the card. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah. So let's get the comments because we got a bunch. Glenn's talking about the ticket sales, not great. I'm sure they'll decrease them as the week goes on. That's what happened in Toronto. They did the same thing. I think they sold it out. So I would go too if I was Miami. What's up, Mike? Good to have you here. Knox, what's up, man? Antoine, what's up, man? Is it an over exaggeration to say 299 and 300, two of the greatest cards of all time? On paper, they are. I think both cards are fucking amazing. I think Marcel agrees based on that nod. Matt talking about he went to Overeem and Rosen Strike 165 was back. Yeah, I know what you're saying. I mean, it used to be cheaper, obviously, but the UFC makes a lot of money. Claudio, I know my main events have been bad, but guess what? Claudio, I want to tell you this. You're right, the main events are bad, but there's a guy named Brian, and I can't remember his exact handle, but he's on Twitter, and he actually compiles the picks of every handicapper on YouTube, and you know who's number one of everyone this year? Me. So I'm hitting it like over an 80% clip on my picks. Now, it's not going to happen the whole year. It'll balance out, and it'll probably end up, around, I would say, like 65% or something like that, probably, at the end of the year. I mean, I hope not. I hope it's like 70%. That'd be amazing. But right now, I'm number one. So, yes, the main events have been off. I'll say that for sure. I'm not happy about it. But overall, man, I mean, it's hard to be too upset when, I've hit at a higher clip than any other YouTuber right now. So you're getting these picks for free. So I completely agree with the main events. 4 straight underdogs have won. I haven't picked them. So yeah, I mean, we'll see about this one too. I mean, it's another dog that I guess could win. So we'll see what happens. But I don't think that streak's going to last forever. I hope not. All right, let's go to the next comment. Antoine, it's just stylistic matchups are way too good to be bad for sure. Claudio, you guys do a great job talking about them. No, I appreciate you, man. Damn, guys, it's the last 200 card. Let's reflect on what's your favorite 200 card. 261. Was that Usman and Masvidal? The one where he knocked him out? I think it was, right?
By the way, the handle of that guy is XBL on Twitch. That's his handle on Twitter.
Yeah, XBL on Twitch. So he has like a spreadsheet, and he compiles all the picks for all the handicappers. And like I said, right now I'm number one. So, I mean, as someone who's been like in the middle for like the last 2 years, like I was kind of in the middle of the pack. To be like at the top it's a nice feeling. But again, I'm completely with Claudio at the same time. Like I don't want to get these main events wrong because that's what a lot of people remember, like if people will look at the card and be like, this guy got the main event wrong. So I completely agree with you, man. It's, it sucks writing my articles and I'm crushing these prelim fights. And then the main events has been bad. So, and yeah, 261 was Usman Masvidal too, which I think was an amazing card. I also think it was the first Fight Island card. Was that Usman Masvidal 1? I think the first Fight Island card, that part of a card was good too. There's just too many cards, Antoine. I mean, there's so many good ones, right? Like it's hard to say, Marcel. I'd have to look through them again,
Yeah.
Yeah, some of these New York cards.
I love the 217 card as well, where you got 3 new champions. So
that's crazy. It was that long ago,
Yeah.
That was like 7 years ago now. The years go by quick, man.
That's so weird,
I know.
That's so weird. That's so long ago.
Craig, what's up, man? Glad to have you here. Craig, by the way, Craig was telling me, so I don't know, do they have Dairy Queen in Netherlands? Do they have that there? Dairy Queen?
No, but I know what it is.
Okay, so it's like a really good ice cream place. But when you get like a Blizzard, which is a really good ice cream, they always flip it like this. And if they don't do it, you get it for free. So every time I ever got it, they just flip it and then they give it to you. Craig said they don't do it in Woodstock, Ontario. So Craig, next time you get one, I know you don't need sugar anymore, man, but you should just go in there and see just to see what they do because I think you're supposed to get it for free. So yeah, all right. I think we should get into the breakdown no more, because we spent about 5 minutes answering the question before the card even started. But yeah, I mean, like, I don't even think I need to ask you this, like, as far as, what you think of the card. I think it's amazing. So I'd say we get into it. Yeah, it's amazing.
I'd say
right?
I'd say it's a solid 7. No, I'm just kidding. It's it's a good card.
For the first fight of the night here, women's bout in the
Rematch.
rematch in the UFC women's flyweight division between Joanne Wood and Maryna Moroz. Odds for this one: Moroz minus 235, Calderwood plus 200. And I want to see what the odds from the first fight were. I think I don't say I think. I remember Wood was a pretty big favorite
For sure.
Let me double check what it was. You think so? Was it plus
Moroz was plus 500, I think.
I think you might be right. Let me double check. She was plus 400. So yeah, it was close to that. Yeah, I mean, let's talk about this rematch here. Right now, we have, like I said, the odds minus 235, Moroz plus 200 on Wood. I kind of feel like she wins again. I don't know if she finishes her this time. Calderwood's probably a little bit better with the submission defense these years later, and also Moroz is a better striker now. Yeah, I mean, like the odds are completely flipped. It's a 700% difference, which is pretty insane when you think about it. But I just can't pick Wood. I just can't do it, man. I think she's kind of on decline. 38 years old. I think she retired and then came back, right? So that always worries me. Moroz is, pretty good fighter. Not amazing, but pretty good. She's coming off a couple losses, but to some, decent fighters as well. You think the loser gets cut after this one? You think it's that kind of a fight?
It's very simple, actually, dude. I mean, Moroz has a pretty solid ground game. Wood doesn't have that. Plus, Wood said that this will be her last fight. She's retiring after this fight. And I'll never pick a fighter when the fighter says before the fight that he's retiring or she's retiring. So, Maryna Moroz, she's also more focused, I feel like, on her OnlyFans. She's a Playboy model as well, But at the same time...
Oh, really?
Yeah, she is.
I'm back to the Google machine.
Yeah, you can. You find a lot of pictures, by the way. So, I mean, Moroz is going to win this fight. Got to be honest here. I think she wins. I think she has more ways to win. I think she plays it probably smart and wins the decision.
Yeah, I mean, she looks pretty good in these pictures. I
knew you are looking.
Fuck, man. You told me about it. I didn't know. I know she had an OnlyFans. I didn't know she did Playboy, though. That's good for her. Yeah, she wins just because she's Playboy, so she wins. Just joking. No, that's awesome.
Yeah, what Knock says in the last comment. Exactly.
That's good. They would really say she's retiring again. I think she already retired. Now she's doing it again? Oh, my God. Back-to-back retirements? I know, right? Hey, man, the guy's got to eat, right? Just joking. Going to pay minus 300 for the decision? It probably goes to the decision, but I think there is a chance of a sub, too.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Probably not. I don't think I would go over 2.5 on this one because I think she could win by sub as well. I think on the ground is such a huge advantage, right? But I also feel like I think this one kind of does play on the feet. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I'll say Moroz by decision. All right, let's go to the next fight here. We got CJ Vergara taking on Assu Almabayev, and this is a fun fight in the flyweight division. Assu is a huge favorite though, minus 500, biggest favorite in the card right now, plus 375 for CJ. I like CJ a lot. He's a dog. He's a guy that's he's actually cashed as an underdog. I think a couple times in the UFC now, but especially against Clayton Rodriguez, who's a big underdog in the fight. Marcel, though, here's the problem, right? The ground game is just so dominant for this Almabayev guy. I think you'll probably get him down on the ground, submit him. Tyler is able to submit him, and I kind of feel like that's what happens here. So, if he can't submit him early, maybe Vergara could take this deep and win, kind of like he did against Lacerda, if possible, because he is a dog. He's one of these guys with good cardio, is tough, but I think Almabayev's good, man. I think he's legit, and 18-2 record, he's pretty legit, man. I think he probably submits CJ. That's my pick. What do you think?
I feel the same way, man. I think Assu really he really did very well in his debut against Ode Osborne, And with Vergara stuff, you saw that in this Lacerda fight. In the fight he was losing, man, against Lacerda, but he came back and he won. It was a fight of the night, I think. And then last time he also got a good win last time against Vinicius Salvador, but Salvador isn't not really really that great, So for me, it's like we can see if Almabayev can go over to the top 15 now, if he gets a win here. And I think he gets the win. Maybe even with a finish. Yeah, I think I'll go submission second round.
Yeah, that's kind of
shout out to Mike, by the way, in the chat.
What's up, Mike? How's it going, man? Glad to have you here. You got a little he's got a special thing because he was part of the site, obviously. Let's go to the next fight here. We got Oh, here's an interesting fight. I mean, I got to
Yeah.
get your thoughts on this one, especially because the odds are interesting, I find. So, Robelis Despaigne is making his debut against Josh Parisian, and he was minus 500 favorite at open, but there's been money coming in on Parisian, which I find interesting. So now it's a minus 310 on Despaigne and plus 250 on Parisian. So here's my thoughts about this guy. They call him the big boy because he's huge. He's like, what, six? What's his height? 6'6"? I think
Yeah,
it's
something like that.
Let me check. It's on UFC stats. I'll just Google it. So it's 2 meters, which is
2-1.
6'7", 6'7". He's huge. And his reach is 87 inches, which is the longest reach in MMA history.
Yeah.
They don't have it on UFC stats, so I want to see exactly what he gets measured at, but that's what he was before. He's had 4 fights, all of them by first-round knockout. The last 3 have finished within 12 seconds,
19.
3 seconds, and 4 seconds. Yeah. It's 19 seconds total. It's crazy, but he's fighting just low-level guys, right?
Yeah.
Now he comes into the UFC, fights Josh Parisian, who's one of the probably lower weighted heavyweights. He's 2-4 in the UFC. I think he could be, I think he lost to Roki, so he could be 1-5. And to be honest, the Bedeau fight, he kind of came back from the dead and won. He could easily be 0-6 right now. Like he did came back and win that fight, but it wasn't impressive. The guy's not that good. Let's be honest. That being said, he does have more experience. So that's the thing here, right? What happens if this fight gets out of the first round? But I don't know, man. I mean, this guy is he's like a legitimate Taekwondo fighter. He won a bronze medal in the Olympics. So he's definitely a good striker. I just don't know about the cardio, dude. I don't know. And he's also 35, so he's not like young. I think Parisian's younger than him, right? Parisian's 34. That's crazy.
Yeah.
This is crazy. So I don't know. I mean, I can kind of see why people are taking a shot in the dog here. I'm not going to. I'll still go with Despaigne. I think he knocks Parisian out. I'm just not high in Parisian, but I couldn't lay this minus 310 on this guy. What do you think, man?
I mean, I got to pick the country over the city, right? I got to pick Spain over Paris. I mean, the Spain against Parisian. Yeah, it's like you're banking on the finish, in the first round, pretty much. I think with the Spain, because we don't know how he looks in the later rounds. The thing is, like Parisian has to survive probably the early round, the first round. Is he gonna do that? I don't have too much trust in Parisian to do that. You know what I mean? So that's why I will pick Robelis to Spain, but it's not like I'm super sure or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like This is like a typical fight when somebody comes like signed kind of early in this pro MMA career, and everybody's super high on him, and he cannot finish in the first round, and then in the later rounds he kind of sucks. Yeah. You never know. That's what happens. That happened before. You know what I mean? So. But still, I'm going with Robelis to Spain. I'm picking him by knockout in the first round, TKO.
Let's get some comments. We got Glenn, barely 5 minutes of experience against opponents who are 1-0 combined. I mean, there we go. Like we just don't really know how good he is. Here's the thing, though. Even if he wins, he might just win like again inside of a minute, and we still don't know how good he is. Yeah. That's the problem here too. So he's going to be a hard guy to handicap, I think, because he'll probably go in style on Parisian and knock him out in like a minute. But again, if he doesn't knock him out in the first round, he's probably going to be in trouble, which is why people are probably betting on him. So, Parisian, even though he's bottom barrel of the UFC, step up 100%. The Spain should win against Spain, but he defeat someone like Waldo. I think Waldo was, he's kind of proven he can go 50 minutes. 35, what do you think Robelis can accomplish UFC? It's hard to say. I mean, here's the thing. Like, Romero came to the UFC at that age, too, and he fought for a belt. These Cuban guys are built differently, too. So, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. He's an Olympic athlete. Like, this guy's a legitimate athlete. He's not just some 35-year-old guy. He's an Olympic bronze medalist, which is pretty good. These Taekwondo guys seem to do bad in the UFC. So that's an interesting comment. I actually just Googled it just to see like what fighters came from Taekwondo backgrounds. You had some good fighters like Pettis, Anderson Silva, Yair Rodriguez, Rose, Valentina, Benson Henderson. I mean, these are some of the top guys, Barboza. So there's been some really good fighters that came from there. But yeah, I mean, there's probably been some that, it hasn't panned out that great either. I don't think it's like the best base for MMA. Like wrestling obviously is. I think we all know that. Wrestling is the best base for MMA. But some of these strikers are definitely good. What are you gonna say?
Yeah, I'd say wrestling with some solid boxing.
For sure. I mean, I like Muay Thai fighters, but you have to be able to defend a takedown.
Yeah.
Robelis says Lucky's not facing Parker Porter. Porter got cut. Actually, Porter would have been Porter would have been knocked out too, probably. I don't think that would do that. I mean, maybe. Actually, you know what, Marcel? Maybe they could do, if Robelis wins, they could do him against Shamil. See who gets broad check there. Robelis, yeah, probably. We don't know how his chin is. We have no idea. There's a lot of question marks with this guy. He's kind of like a wild card. But again, longer reach in UFC history, like Antoine says, 87 inches. I mean, that's something to be said about that. He's 6'7", so an absolute monster. All right, we'll go to the next fight here. Middleweight division, we have Michel Pereira against Michal Oleksiejczuk. I said his name right this time, finally, Marcel.
Yeah.
Minus 160.
I was like, is he going to say Oleksiejczuk again? No, you said it right.
I got it right. Pereira, minus 160. Oleksiejczuk, plus 140. It should be a fun fight. I mean, I think Oleksiejczuk, is a fun guy to watch. There's no doubt about it. Good hands, big power. But I also feel like Pereira, man, I think this is a good weight class for him, 185. He looked big, strong, fast, healthy against Petrosky, knocked him up brutally, and then he's on a 6-fight win streak. Ever since those 2 fights where he had against Diego Sanchez, where he was dominating the fight and then was a dummy and beat him in the head illegally, and the Tristan Connolly fight where he did those backflips and blew his gas tank. I mean, dude, he's looked pretty good in the UFC. If he didn't do those things, he could easily be undefeated in the UFC right now. So Pereira's a good fighter, man. He's good, and Oleksiejczuk good too. He's solid, but I still think he can get outstruck here, and I could see it looking kind of like that Dustin Jacoby fight, where Dustin was just a more technical striker and outstruck this guy. So, yeah, I mean, even though Oleksiejczuk's weakness is more the ground game than the striking, and he'll have a puncher's chance here, I still think he probably loses a decision here. Pereira's only been knocked out the one time, was against Dusko. I've seen that fight. He did get caught. I mean, it's possible, right? That's the only thing. But overall, I think he's probably the more well-rounded guy. I think he probably has the better gas tank, especially at middleweight, where Oleksiejczuk's cutting weight to make the weight class. Otherwise, Pereira's actually not cutting weight now. So I think, the longer this fight goes, I think it's Pereira. I'll say a decision, but I think Michel Pereira wins the fight. What do you think?
Feel the same way, man. I think it will be a fun fight. I think both guys are very talented, but I have to favor Pereira here as well. I think Pereira has done very well so far, and I think he's getting better. And he's fighting smarter than he did in the beginning. So yeah, I'm picking him.
Yeah, no, me too. A couple of comments here. Yeah, it's a banger. Pereira decision. Yeah. I mean, the Diego Sanchez fight, he was dominating the fight, and then he landed an illegal knee. It was so stupid. And Diego was like, I think he asked Greg Jackson. I think it was Greg, or maybe it was that other guy. What was that creepy guy's name?
Mike Winklejohn?
No, not that. No, Michael John's a good coach. Who's that creepy dude that was like beating him with a stick when he was hanging upside down? What was that guy's name?
Oh, Josh Pavia.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah. Dude, I think maybe he was like, he's like, what do I do? And I think they asked the ref, like, does he get a disqualified if he can't continue? They're like, yeah. And he's like, okay, I can't continue. Remember that? Like, they're not supposed to. I think since that fight, they don't do that anymore. Like, they can't really ask the ref, like, what's going to happen? Like, the ref's just like, I will make a decision. That's what they say now.
Yeah.
That was bad. All right. So that is okay. So next fight is, I think this is the prelim or the early prelim. Right? Yeah. Ion Cutelaba against Philipe Lins. And there was no betting odds on this fight until this morning. I don't know how the odds makers forgot about this fight, but I guess it was a late edition.
Yeah, it was.
Ion Cutelaba minus 130, Philipe Lins plus 110. I'm going with Ion Cutelaba, Marcel. Lins, he's looked pretty good, but he is an older guy for this division. He's like 38 or something. And, I think he can get touched up here by Ion in the first round. Lins has been knocked out 4 times in his career. Ion has a lot of power, as we know. He's coming off a good knockout win over Tanner Boser. And if you look at his record, I mean, a lot of the guys he lost to are really good fighters. He's lost to like mostly former champions. So, or not lately, but before that he was, or like top guys, like all ranked guys basically. So, Ion's a flawed fighter. There's no doubt about it. I mean, there's a lot of flaws in this guy's game, but he does have power and he can crack. And I think he'll knock out Lins in the first round. It's just the gas tank's a huge concern. So, what do you think?
It's a horrible fight to pick, to be honest. Both guys were supposed to fight in October, and Lins pulled out on fight night, I think, because he was ill. Yeah, rebooked. I feel like it really can go both ways, man. I think either Ion knocks him out or Lins might win the decision. But he can use the wrestling like he did in some other fights. Going with Ion by knockout, but I'm far from sure.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right, let's go to the next fight here. We got Pedro Munhoz taking on Kyler Phillips. Fun bantamweight fight here. Phillips, the Matrix, minus 240. Munhoz, plus 205. What's your thoughts on this one, man?
Dude, I fucking love Carlo Phillips, man. I think dude is super underrated. Many people forgot he got a win over Song Yadong in 2021, and that was a really good win back then. The thing is, like, Carlo Phillips has some trouble with USADA, I think, twice or three times already. And that's why he does it like coming up in those in those rankings. He has been booked many times and didn't fought. Last fight won against Barcelos last year. He's back now. He's fighting Pedro Munhoz. Pedro Munhoz is a tough opponent for almost everybody. He got more losses than wins as of lately, but still, you saw in the Chris Gutierrez fight, he can still do work. And the Marlon Vera fight was actually pretty close in my opinion. I think Marlon won, but I didn't think it was like a blowout or whatever. I feel like Phillips can get in the rankings here, man, if he wins. And I really like Kyler in this matchup. I think it's a good matchup for him. Pedro is getting older, is still the young Punisher, but he's already 37 now. Kyler is young. He's still under 30. I think he's 27 or 28. Good fighter. Really like him. I think he wins the decision, man.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Kyler Phillips too, but I think it'll be a competitive fight. So I don't know if I can lay this juice on him. But I picked him in all his fights. I like this guy a lot. I think he's really good. His striking is excellent. His ground game's really good too. It's just, again, the gas tank's a little bit of concern, right? So we saw that against Paiva. If he doesn't, get the fight done early, which I don't think he will finish Pedro Munhoz. Munhoz is tough as hell, man. He's one of the most durable guys. Like, I don't think he's ever been knocked out, right? So this fight's probably going the distance, if I had to guess. And again, Munhoz has been in there with like the best guys in the world. It's just that he's 37 now, turning 38 this year. It shouldn't be the young Punisher anymore, Marcel. It's going to be the old Punisher soon. I think he loses the decision. I think Phillips wins the first two rounds, and then the third round, Munhoz is going to try to, do his best, but it's going to be too little, too late. I think it's going to be competitive, though. So I think Phillips' first round, second round is going to be one of those swing rounds.
Phillips is such a fun fight.
It is a good fight. And I think next week we're going to talk about this and be like, you called it perfectly, Adam. You broke it down perfectly. First round went to Phillips. Second round was a coin flip, and Phillips ended up winning a split decision or something. That's why I can't lay the juice, especially because the judges are going to get involved. They're going to get involved in this fight. And they can fuck it up. Especially in Florida. They haven't been the greatest in Florida over the years historically. So it's kind of a fight that I think on this card, there's a lot of fights where like there's a lot of finishes that are possible, and those are the kind of guys you want to target. The fights that are going to go the distance that could be competitive, they're kind of sketchy. So Phillips by decision, but I don't want to lay this minus 240. It's too much. A couple comments here. Munhoz could beat Cheeto, and he's fighting O'Malley. Yeah, I mean the Cheeto fight was close, man. It was very close. Love Phillips was a tough match. It could be. I think Kyler wins the odds are a little wide. Yep. Hey, Jimmy, what's up? This card's amazing. Yeah, I think it goes the distance. I think that's probably a better bet than it just goes to 3 rounds because I think it goes 3. I mean, again, Munhoz is so tough. I don't see Phillips submitting Munhoz. I don't think Munhoz submits Phillips. I don't think they knock each other out. I think it goes the distance. So, yeah, I think we're all on the same page on that one. All right, let's go to the next fight here. We got Mateusz Gamrot against Rafael dos Anjos. Mateusz is a big favorite here, minus 400, RDA plus 330. I got to be honest. I mean, maybe I'll look stupid next week. I think this is like the easiest fight to pick on the whole card. I think Mateusz Gamrot wins for sure. Like, I had no doubt ever since the fight was announced. I know RDA's, a very experienced guy, a former champion, and he's moving back down to lightweight where he'll probably do better, but I'm super high on Gamrot. I think he's phenomenal. And I think he just pretty much wins this fight convincingly, like 3 rounds to none. Like, I don't think the judges probably get involved because, again, RDA's tough, but I don't think it's going to be like a close fight. I think Gamrot just kind of grinds him out and wrestles them. Again, I know the Luque fight was at 170, but seeing Luque out wrestle dos Anjos like that was really concerning to me. So, yeah, I think Gamrot wins the decision here, Marcel. And I feel really good about it. I think he's a guy that you want to bet on this week. I know he's minus 400, but people like making a parlay. That's the guy to put it in. I think so. Mateusz Gamrot by decision. What do you think?
For me, it's the second easiest fight to pick on the card, to be honest. And I'm also going with Gamrot. I think he has more upside here. I think he's still in his prime. I think RDA is a little bit past his prime. Still a good fighter, though. Don't get me wrong. But I feel like Gamrot is going to win a decision here. So, yeah, it's pretty much what you said.
What did we already go through the fight that you said was the easiest one? Was it?
We haven't been there.
Okay, so let's not spoil it. Yeah, RDA. I mean, I don't know if he'll retire after this one, but we'll see. Dan Hardy said this is fight of the night. This one, I don't know, man. I think Gamrot dominates the fight. Could he submit dos Anjos? I don't know. Dos Anjos
just out of respect, I wouldn't say that.
Yeah.
But
this should be a fight night headliner instead. I mean, this is the perfect Apex card headliner. I don't mean it as an insult. Just that's what it should be. This should have been on the last week's card. They didn't need to be on this card. They should have
put this one on March 16th instead of Taivasa Tibura.
Well, don't even talk about that fight. That you thought last week's main event was bad, guys. Wait till that card where Barber just grinds on Taivasa. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, if that happens, yeah.
We'll go to the next fight here. Katlyn Cerminara against Maycee Barber. So this used to be Katlyn Chukagian. She got married. Different last name. Barber minus 220. Cerminara plus 185. Again, a fight where I think the judges get involved. A fight I don't think you want to really bet on. I think Barber probably wins the fight. She has more upside here. She's super young. She's only 25 years old. She's coming off 5 straight wins. I think she should have lost a couple of those fights, but the last fight, man, was beyond impressive against Amanda Ribas, who's our girl, right? And she just destroyed her. She looked so good in that fight where I have to pick her here. I mean, she has a really good UFC record, 8-2. I mean, it's really solid. Cerminara, obviously a good record too. I think she has the most wins in this division, I think, or something like that. It could be. She's just a fighter that, can win these decisions, and it'll probably be a close fight that goes to 3 rounds and the judges will get involved. And we know that Cerminara has won these like shitty type of decisions in the past where you were scratching your head thinking she should have lost, but she won. And I think that could she's going to make those noises, man. And the judges like it for some reason. They love it. So I think she's a live dog. I think so for sure. But I'm high on Barber now, especially after that last win. I'm back kind of on her bandwagon a little bit, Marcel. And I've been kind of on and off with her over the years because she's had some really shit losses where you're just like, man, this girl's not good. And then she has these big wins like the last one. You remember she's only 25. So I'm kind of back on her bandwagon a little bit. And I'll pick her here, but I can't lay minus 220 on this fight. So Barber by, I'll say decision. What do you think?
The funny thing with Maycee is like when she came in the UFC, I found her kind of annoying, but I feel like she has a much better place in life for some reason. You see her laughing all the time. She's like really enjoying herself. I think her how do you say that, the way she fought against Ribas showed that she's like in a really good place right now.
She looked good in that fight.
Yeah, she really looked good. And Chukagian or Cerminara or whatever we have to call her, she's always in those 3-round fights. If she wins, she's in a 3-round fight, and she's always in a striking battle. She knows how to win a fight, obviously, with 3 rounds. But I think Barber can play it also. She can also take the fight to the ground if she needs to, I think, I'm going with Barber. I don't think she gets a finish here, but I'm definitely going Barber. I think she wins the decision. I would be good for the division as well, if Maycee wins, because Chukagian is one of the girls who has been for a long time in the top of the division. She lost to Manon Fiorot in 2022, I think.
It was 2 years ago,
yeah. So now she's finally back. Maycee.
Long layoff too. That's something I didn't mention, but long layoff. The other thing I'll say is, Maycee fought Grosso, and I think it was 29-28, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You see,
it was a close fight, by the way.
Yeah, it was. So stylistically, she doesn't match up that bad against the champ. So
the funny thing is that I still think that she clearly lost to Maverick, and that she should have lost to Andrea Lee. So
I mean, I remember the Maverick one. I was so disgusted. Like that bothered me so much. It made me not want to bet on the sport anymore because it was such a bad decision. I thought, Let's go to a couple comments actually.
Mm-hmm.
Sign Collectibles is here. What's up, brother? Maycee single. I want to take her on a date. No, she's dating some dude that's like a team alpha male, right?
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. I don't remember his name. What's his name?
I don't know who. I don't know who.
Yeah, she's got a boyfriend though, dude. And so sorry, Pop. I don't think you have a chance. You guys remember when Ribas was screaming Katlyn's face? Yeah, I remember that. You should have lost to Lee Maverick. Yeah, I agree. All right, let's go.
By the way, I thought Ribas beat Chukagian as well, by the way, but she lost a split decision. But yeah.
I remember when Viviane Araújo fought Chukagian. I thought Viviane Araújo beat.
Yeah,
Chukagian
me too. Yeah.
So that she's just again, she's one of these girls that wins these shitty decisions. 2 of them, both these girls have won some bad decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Curtis Blaydes against Jailton Almeida. This is the prelim headliner. This fight could easily be a headliner on a fight night.
Of course.
It should be 5 rounds. I'm a little disappointed it's not, to be honest with you. Although I think I know why they didn't do 5 because that last fight with Jailton was really bad. We'll just say that.
Yeah, but I mean that was opponent, and I don't think this is different,
Curtis Blaydes is favored right now, minus 125. Jailton Almeida plus 105. I think this is one of the more interesting fights on the card. I would stay away from this fight. I definitely wouldn't bet on this fight. I think this fight can go either way. I'm leaning Curtis Blaydes just because I'm not convinced Jailton can take him down and hold him there or submit him. Someone Fighting Stats on Twitter, he posted the videos of Blaydes, all the takedown attempts against him. Now I understand this Cody East guy got a couple takedowns on him 8 years ago. Other than that, no one's taking him down really. Volkov took him down one time with like 5 seconds left in a round or something. And he had 14 against Volkov. I just have a hard time seeing Jailton really like having success with the grappling in this fight. I think it's going to stay standing. And Blaydes, I think, is a pretty good boxer. His chin obviously is a bit concerning. I mean, he's been knocked out a bunch of times, but again, against Pavlovich, Lewis, and Francis, is his chin that bad? I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to say.
What's underdog?
Jailton's a small underdog right now.
Okay.
It's like my plus 105, so it's small. The other thing about Jailton is I don't know if he should be a heavyweight. He was at light heavyweight, moved up, and he's a smaller heavyweight. He weighs less than these guys. And again, I just feel like Blaydes is a big heavyweight. He's going to probably cut weight to make 265. He's a big dude, far more experienced in the UFC. I'm leaning Blaydes, but at the same time, I think Almeida does have upside, obviously. I do think it's interesting that Blaydes is only like 6 months older than Almeida, with all that more experience in the UFC. So, yeah, man, like Jailton has looked good, other than that last fight where I don't know what he was doing, but he's looked really good in the UFC. And I know he's beaten some big guys. I just think like this is a big step up, and I don't know if he's going to pass this test. So, yeah, he might win. I wouldn't bet on this fight, staying the hell away from it, but I'm leaning Curtis Blaydes. I think he could win a decision. I think he could knock Almeida out too, but I also see think Almeida could, hurt Curtis Blaydes and finish him too. So it's a kind of an iffy one, but my lean is Blaydes. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm fading Blaydes in this one. I'm going with Almeida.
There you go.
Yeah. I think we'll be close, man. I think it goes to a decision. I think a lot of grappling we will see. I think Blaydes will have the advantage in the stand-up, but I think most of the fight will go down on the ground. I think Almeida will initiate the takedown more than Blaydes will. Although Blaydes is a great wrestler, we know, but I think Blaydes knows as well that his that can have advantage on the ground as well. But I think his stand-up he has more advantage in the stand-up over Almeida. Still think Almeida will be able to win 2 out of the 3 rounds, so I'm going with Almeida.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, it should be an interesting fight. I'm very intrigued by this matchup. Got a couple of comments here. Blaydes was plus 200. Jailton this time. Blaydes is the favorite. Yeah, I mean that's interesting. I mean, people were fading him obviously after the fight with Lewis. Blaydes can keep it standing. Let's try Almeida. I think he's a better striker too. Curse is bigger and great grappling with power. Yeah. Barber, Katlyn goes a distance. I think so too. Jailton, undersized heavyweight. Fought middleweight. He did. I wish Jailton had stayed at 205. I like the value for Blaydes. I think Blaydes wins too. What if Blaydes gets taken down? It's possible. It's just, I don't know. I mean, he really hasn't been. Again, I know that Cody East guy, people are going to look at that and be like, well, this bum took him down. I just don't know if you can look at that fight and compare it. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. It's really hard to say. So Marcel might be on a dog here.
It's a good fight, which should have been 5 rounds, in my opinion, because then I think Blaydes would have an advantage if it goes to 5 rounds, in my opinion. And I wanted to see Almeida against a guy who can go 5 rounds with him. Obviously, the last 2 fights, Rosenstruck got finished in the first round, and Lewis couldn't do shit on the ground against Almeida. So I wanted to see this for 5 rounds, but hey, it doesn't. So yeah,
for sure. All right, let's go to the pay-per-view main card. This card is amazing, and you start off the fight with a banger here between Petr Yan and Song Yadong. Close odds for this one. Petr Yan minus 120, Song Yadong plus 100. And I think again this could be a 5-round main event.
Yeah,
easily, and I think it should have been. This is another tough fight to call, I think, too, Marcel. Like Song Yadong's very good. He's very, very good and very experienced now. He has a lot of fights. Yeah, I think he has more fights than Petr Yan in the UFC. He does. Yan's fought, I think, better competition, but this guy's been fighting good guys his whole career too. And Song Yadong is super young, 26, super young, fighting since he was like 16. Yan is still a guy I'm high on, though. I know he's lost 3 straight fights, but again, he lost to Sterling, split decision, lost to O'Malley, split decision, and then loses to Merab. And they beat Corey Sandhagen, and that win is aging very well. Corey's a very good fighter. So I'm not ready to write off Petr just based on these losses yet. That's why I'm leaning him. I still think he's an elite guy. I do. But I think Song Yadong's really good too. So I think it's an intriguing matchup. I really like this fight. I think it's an amazing fight. The odds are close for a reason. I'm leading Petr Yan by decision. That's my lean. Should be a close one, though. What do you think?
I mean, Piotr Jan's only real loss in the UFC, in my opinion, is Merab Dvalishvili, his last fight. I think he beat Sean O'Malley, and I think the Sterling fight was close, could have gone either way. I have no problem that they gave it to Sterling, by the way. And, man, not going to talk about the DQ. Song Yadong, good fighter, He really convinced me in the Ricky Simone fight. Before that, I was still, how do you say that, was not really sure.
On the fence, maybe? Yeah.
On the fence, that's the word. I was still on the fence with him, But the Ricky Simone fight was really good. And then the Chris Gutierrez fight, yeah, he dominated that pretty much. But I'm really convinced that Piotr Jan is going to win this fight. I think Song Yadong is good. Don't get me wrong. Will be a fun fight. Will be an absolute banger. But I think Piotr Jan wins. He either finishes him or he gets a decision win. But I'm going with a decision for Piotr Jan.
Yeah. Side collectibles like strong young Song Yadong. Is Piotr still in his prime? I don't know. Maybe a little past his prime, but I think it's not like far past it, if anything. Easy to fade Young because he's on the skid, but I think it's a close fight. Still got some decision. Yeah, it's a crazy fight. The thing is though, Peter, like it's just he's in a weird spot. It's just like you wonder what his career would have been different if he doesn't throw that illegal knee against Sterling. Like he might still be the champ right now. He could be. It changed the whole course of the history of that division. That DQ. It's the only time a title's ever changed hands by DQ in the UFC history. I remember betting on Jan in that fight. Man, that was one of the worst bad beats you'll ever have in MMA because he was pretty much dominating that fight, and then he fucking threw this stupid knee, and it is what it is. But yeah, it should be a good fight. I love this fight. Again, I wish it was 5 rounds. Don't you wish this was 5? This one?
Yeah, for sure.
Some of these fights, like they really should have been 5 rounds instead, man. Like the last 4 fights could have been 5-round fights, main events. So, all right, let's go to the next fight here. We got another fucking banger, dude. I mean, this card banger after banger, and this one's another fight that could easily be a headliner. We have Gilbert Burns taking on Jack Della Maddalena, and the odds are close for this one too. Pretty close anyways. Jack Della minus 155, plus 135 on Gilbert Burns. Yeah, I mean, great fight here. Man, I mean, I'm a big fan of Burns. I really like him a lot, but boy, I think it's tough to bet against Jack. I mean, the guy is just really good, and I know the last couple of fights were like more competitive than you like love, but he's still really good. I mean, the question here is like, can he keep it standing? Because if he goes to the ground, he could be in trouble. I mean, we saw against Basil Hafez that he could be exploited on the mat, but I just don't know if Burns will take in there. Burns is like, he's kind of, to me, Marcel, he reminds me of like Michael Chandler, where he just likes to put on a show for the fans and likes to stand and bang and trade, and more often than not he wins, and even against like Hamza, man, he put on a fucking war in a fight that you thought you'd get finished. So the guy's a warrior. I fucking love him, but I don't know, at age 30, he's turning 38 in a few months. He's getting older. Jack's only 28, 27. He's in his prime. He's on 6-fight win streak. He's so much momentum right now. Amazing boxer. Pretty good takedown defense overall in his career. 82% solid. I know Basil took him down. That guy's a good wrestler. Burns is a pretty good wrestler too. I mean, more of a submission guy, obviously, but leading Jack. I think Jack can finish him, honestly, with punches. What do you think, man?
Yeah, man, fun fight, good matchup. The thing is, like, I gotta give Jack the benefit of the doubt with that Basil Hafez fight. I remember he made weight to fight this Josiah Harrell guy, and then Harrell got not medically cleared, and then a week after he had to make weight again to fight Basil Hafez, and I think that took something of him, that's why that fight wasn't that amazing of his, and Basil Hafez did very well, don't get me wrong, but he was easily taken down by Hafez many times in that fight, and after that, he fought Kevin Holland. It was a really conservative fight, I thought. Was really like standing against each other and trying to how do you say that? To get the least amount of damage. And I think Jack won that fight. Yeah. I feel like the thing with Gilbert Burns is that he has fallen in love with his striking. The only time he really used his grappling a lot was against Stephen Thompson when he knew he had to use it to win the fight. I don't know now. Like I said, I've watched today the podcast with Moicano where Burns was on, and Moicano was also like, "You're an underdog, but we saw what Hafez did to him. You can do that as well." And Gilbert was like, "Yeah, for sure, I can do that as well." The thing is, will he do it? Because Gilbert loves to strike, and when he gets in the striking battle, he keeps getting in that striking battle normally. So I take a gamble here that it will be a striking battle, and I think Jack Della Maddalena wins the fight. So
decision or knockout?
He can stop him as well, but I'm going with decision, going a little bit safe here.
Burns does the same against Magny or Wonderboy will win. Yeah, that's the thing. If he takes him,
I did him against Magny as well. Yeah, true.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the next fight here. Kevin Holland welcomes Michael Page to the UFC. Close odds for this one: -130 for Trailblazer, +110 for MVP. I'm actually really curious to hear your take on this fight. So I'll start on this one. I think this is kind of a tricky fight to pick personally. This guy's again, this is one I'll stay away from. I think Michael Page is a guy that I've never really thought was like as good as people thought. I think he's overrated. I think if you look through his record, he's fought mostly like mediocre competition. And the few guys he fought that were good, he lost to, like Storley and Lima. I know he beat Lima in that rematch, but he shouldn't have won that fight. The other guys he beat are all pretty bad, dude. I mean, that's the thing, right? I've always thought he was one of the most overrated guys in Bellator. Everyone's always talking about good he was. I remember when I fought Douglas Lima, I had Douglas Lima as a big underdog in that fight. He knocked him out. So he's a guy that I'm just not that high on. But at the same time, like stylistically, doesn't match up that bad in this fight against Holland, who again will probably stand and trade. Because Holland, here's the thing, he has submissions, but doesn't have the best wrestling, and I don't think he'll take Page down. So I think it's going to stay on the feet. That's the thing about this fight. It's just that Holland has fought such better competition, dude, way more seasoned, and he does have knockout power too. He does have good striking. I'm just not sure. I mean, this could play out like that Stephen Thompson fight where Thompson was just the better striker and outstruck him, and he broke his hand, obviously, but he was going to lose the fight anyways. I could see it playing out like that. I don't think the fight goes to the ground. I think it stays standing. It's going to be a fun fight. I think Page could win. I guess I'll lean Holland ever so slightly, just because, again, the competition level, and I think he's the more well-rounded guy. He's fought better competition, but he's younger too. There's a lot of advantages for him. But again, stylistically, if Page can keep this fight standing, which I think it will, he could trick these judges too. So I don't know. I'm staying the hell away from this one. I'll take Holland by, I don't know. I mean, I'm not even sure at the method. I think you can knock him out. I think you win the decision. But I can also see Page finishing Holland too, or winning decision. So tough one to call for you, man. Don't have the best read in this fight, guys, to be honest with you. Slightly in Holland, I guess, but I don't know. What do you think?
If Holland fights to his full potential, this is the easiest fight to pick on the card, man. I'm picking Kevin Holland, obviously. I think MVP is completely overrated. I said it earlier in my Bellator Zone podcast as well, I think he's a good striker, but I think the hype around him is more about the shenanigans, and that people love him. I mean, people are already talking about him for a title shot against Leon Edwards, which is crazy to me, Kevin Holland, if he stays focused, and I think he has stayed focused in his last couple of fights. I know he lost to Jack Dalla, but before that, the Michael Chiesa fight was amazing what he did there. I think Michael Chiesa is a better fighter than Michael Page. I think Kevin Holland should win this fight. If Kevin Holland doesn't win this fight, I'd be shocked. In my opinion, I think somebody on Twitter said earlier, if Kevin Holland loses this fight, Kevin Holland loses against himself, and that's the way I look at it as well. Fuck, man. I think Kevin Holland. I think he strikes with him, he tags him, and he submits him. I'm going with a submission for Kevin Holland, even early, first or second round.
Club and sub, interesting. Yeah, I'm kind of seeing some comments in the chat. Seems like most people are leaning Holland a little bit, but some people like MVP too. I think this fight's interesting. I mean, it's a good fight. All right, we'll go to the next fight. This is an amazing fight too. Co-main event, 5 rounds. We should mention that 5 rounds. Dustin Poirier taking on Benoit Saint-Denis. Benoit is the favorite, -225 on Benoit, +190 on Dustin Poirier. I guess you could start. What do you think?
Yeah, fun fight, man. Obviously, you got like Benoit got a huge opportunity here. 5 fights in a row, finish after absolutely got destroyed against Zaleski, weight class up in his debut, but since then he looked amazing. Poirier lost his last fight, right, for the BMF title against Gaethje, against Chandler. I want to say against Gaethje. Yeah, and I mean, this is the first time that Dustin really has to fight down in the division, man. So, wonder how it's gonna be. I think Dustin, great fighter, really good fighter all round, good on the ground, great stand-up. If you look at Benoit Saint-Denis, it's more of a submission or BJJ fighter before he came to the UFC, but his hands is getting better as well. For some reason, man, I think Benoit submits him, man. I think he really can. I think the longer the fight goes, I might have favored Poirier, but I think it goes early. I think Benoit submits him in the first or second round. And maybe that's crazy, but that's how I feel.
Hit the button, dude. Hit it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm taking the dog, guys. Dustin Poirier plus 190. I've been really high on Benoit Saint-Denis. I've picked him in quite a few of his fights, and I think he's very good. At the same time, this is a massive step up in competition. And I'm not writing off Dustin Poirier just yet, guys. I'm really not. Like, he did well against Gaethje before he got kicked in the head. I mean, that was a kick that would have knocked a fucking elephant. I mean, it was a crazy kick. This guy's only losing to elite guys for the most part in his career. I know he's lost to, like, Michael Johnson, but let's be honest. Throughout his career, he's mostly lost to just the best guys, and he's beaten some of the best guys. I mean, dude, the guy's he's just so proven. He's been in 5 rounds multiple times. He's put on wars. He's just a proven guy. And if this was 3 rounds, I might pick Benoit, but because it's 5, I'm leading Dustin. I just think the longer this fight goes, it favors him, man. I really do. I still think, although the guys looked amazing since that fight with Dos Santos, it's still a fight that I think about because it shows that, defensively, not the most sound guy. I mean, offensively, absolute monster, right? Great power, and the submissions are nasty too, but I still think he can get tagged up here. I think Poirier is, a really good striker. I mean, he's a knockout artist. He's got tons of knockouts in the UFC, huge power from his left hand. It is an interesting fight, southpaw. I always find that interesting, but I just think Poirier is just more proven. So I think the odds are off. Plus 190. I don't see this fight like that. I don't think he should be a plus, a 2-1 dog. I just think it's kind of disrespectful. I get it. People are fading him after a brutal knockout loss. That's what a lot of people do when guys get brutally knocked out like that. They just don't come back, and I get that. But at the same time, he's had 8 months to recover. It's a long time to recover, 9 months actually. And, I think he can do this, man. So I'll take Poirier as a dog here, guys. I'll take him to win by knockout in the 3rd or 4th round. I don't think the fight goes the distance, though. That's probably a really good bet. I don't think this fight goes 5 rounds, although I do think it goes later in the fight. Let's get some comments from people. I want to see what people think about this one. The odds are crazy. Forget to step up. It is. If BSD was 3 rounds, I'd be confident BSD for sure. Close, but I like BSD's footwork. Almost looks like Jess. I don't like BSD's footwork. Okay. Looks like Jessica eyes. I mean, come on. That's kind of mean. I'm just joking. I think Dustin's really durable. Can survive. Yeah. BSD by finish in 3rd. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be an interesting fight. I like it a lot. I think the motivation's a good question, too. I don't know. When it first got announced, I was like, okay. Actually, when BSD knocked out Favola, I was like, this is the fight to make. Because I like the battle. I just think it makes sense, and he deserved a step up after what he's been doing. But the closer this fight's got to it, I'm just like, man, this is a big step up. And going from Favola and Moises to Poirier, that's a huge step up, man. You're going from guys that are, borderline top 15 to a Hall of Famer. So we'll see what happens. I mean, he might get finished here, Poirier. I don't think the fight goes 5 rounds either way. But yeah, I'm going to lean towards the dog here. Dustin Poirier. All right, let's go to the main event here, Marcel. We have Sugar Sean O'Malley taking on Marlon Chito Vera in the 5-round bantamweight title main event rematch. They fought in 2020. Vera won by TKO due to injury stoppage. This time around, O'Malley's the champ. Minus 385, plus 245 on Vera. Actually, you start this one too. What do you think?
O'Malley wins the fight. That's what I think. Before the kick where O'Malley injured his foot, O'Malley was doing very well. Both guys obviously developed through the years, but for me, it's Vera always needs to have he's losing rounds until he finds somehow some hard punches where he gets the guy a lot of damage with, and then he still wins the round. But I feel the last fight of Vera against Munhoz, he just got by Munhoz. I know one of my friends was really high on that fight. He thought Munhoz or Vera did amazing. I didn't think he did amazing. I think it was a very close fight. Before they got dominated by Sandhagen on the ground, man. Was split decision. I don't know what that Joel Ojeda guys are, but it was a clear unanimous for Sandhagen. Before that, he was on a good streak. Got the Cruz knockout. I just don't see it. I don't see him beating Sean O'Malley. I think the UFC knew that as well. That's why they made this fight. Sean O'Malley's going to win. It's either a decision or a late finish by TKO, ground and pound, I think. So I know Vera. I think Vera has never been finished before. But no, I still think O'Malley can do it. So I'm going with O'Malley. O'Malley retains the belt after this one.
Yeah, I'm leaning Sean O'Malley too. I hope they don't get another main event wrong. We're gonna have Claudio come in here next week and give me shit again. Claudio, hopefully you're still listening. No, I mean, I think he wins. I'm a little higher on him. Here's the thing, like I like both guys. I think Cheeto doesn't deserve the shot, but he matches up obviously well against O'Malley because it's going to be striker fight, right? The problem with Cheeto is like he gets hit so much. If you look at his stats, he's getting outlanded in his fights. Like he lands 4.5 and he gets hit at over 5. So
the Rob Font fight is a good,
great example. But he has that fight changing power. It's just O'Malley. I don't think he's ever been dropped, right? Yeah, he's never been dropped. He's never shown a bad chin. And O'Malley, you talk about volume, 7.5 strikes landed per minute, 3.5 landed back. You know what fight I kind of think this looks like? And Vera is better, but I kind of feel like it looks like that Chris Moutinho fight, Marcel. Where he just sticks and moves and just keeps popping that jab out and just lands that big right hand and out damages him. But I think again, Vera's so durable, never been knocked out ever. So I think it's going to be like the Moutinho guy who's very durable, right? I kind of feel like it goes the 5 rounds though, man. To be honest with you, I think it's going to be like a long drawn out fight. I think it probably goes to the decision. Judges might get involved, but I think O'Malley will just do way more damage. I think Cheeto's face is going to be really jabbed up here and it's going to be marked up. It's going to be cut and bleeding. Cheeto's going to have his moments in this fight. It's going to be a good fight. It's a fun fight. I think it could be fight of the night. I'm pretty sure it's going to be fight of the night. But my lean is Sean O'Malley on points. I think so because I think it's going to go long, and I think it's going to be like Sean O'Malley. I honestly, because I'm looking at the stats, he landed 230 strikes against Moutinho, and then Vera landed how many against Font? Font landed 270 against him. So I think O'Malley might land like 250 strikes in this fight. I know it sounds crazy, but not really, because if you look at how much Cheeto gets hit, it's a lot. I think Cheeto will land like 150. So it'll be like he's going to like almost double him up on the strikes and win on points. That's what I think happens here, man. So be interesting. It's going to be a good fight. Who's O'Malley face? Probably Marab, but
probably another striker.
UFC doesn't want to do that. How much of a chance would you give the fight being boring? I don't think it'll be boring. I think it's going to be a good fight. So what's the fight's mental? A few hard leg kicks, possibly. I mean, his legs definitely seem like one of his weaknesses, right? So maybe he starts slow into a finish, maybe. Sean by underwhelming leg kick decision. Really, I think it's gonna be a good fight, but we'll see. O'Malley's having a good round 4 leg injury. Yeah, Cheeto does start slow. That's the thing.
Honestly,
Sean starts. Go ahead.
I kind of agree. I don't know why this is going to be a fight of the night, you think, man. I don't really see this as a entertain. I think Song Yadong against Piotr Jan going to be way more entertaining than this one, for example,
Fair enough. Let me see. Let me count this up. So Cheeto's won 3 fight of the nights. Sean's won 3 fight of the nights. I mean, they're both usually pretty good fights, and they almost always in a bonus in their wins, too. So I don't know. I just think I think it'll look like that fight with Rob Font, which was that fight of the night. Yeah, it was. It was fight of the night. I think it's going to look like that fight. But I think O'Malley wins this time. So we'll see. It should be a good fight, and the card's amazing. Who's your favorite underdog? Sorry. I took Dustin Poirier plus 190. That was my one dog.
I only took Almeida, I think. So I don't know.
Marcel took Jailton Almeida plus 105. So
but
those are our 2 dogs.
It's not my favorite underdog because it's my only underdog.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? And I know we only picked one. There's going to be a couple others that win, but I do think a lot of these favorites win. But there are some fights that can go either way. Like I think, I think Page and Holland go either way. I think what else? I think the Linz guy, if he doesn't get finished, could win. There's a lot of fights that are kind of like the favorites are kind of like too much favorite.
To reply to Signed Collectibles 1, the last comment would be absolutely disgusting if Moroz doesn't get the winner of this one.
Yeah, he should. Saint-Denis will beat Dustin by submission if possible. Sean fight Sandhagen and go. I don't know. I think that's an interesting fight. I think Sandhagen matches up really well with him. So
I give Sandhagen a better chance than I give Vera, to be honest.
Me too. So do I. And again, Corey fucking destroyed Marlon Vera in that fight. The fact it was a split decision was just terrible.
Corey can fucking wrestle,
He can.
If he wants.
That's the thing. Like, this is not a wrestler. This is the UFC giving O'Malley the chance to get a first title defense under his belt. That's really what it is, and he should win this fight. He really should. All right, guys. I think that's going to be it for the UFC 299 preview. We obviously appreciate you guys joining us. We wanted almost an hour there. I'm looking forward to this card, Mark, so I can't wait. We'll be back next week, guys. We'll recap the card for you. We'll preview the next card. But until then, hope you guys have an amazing week. Enjoy it, and let's hopefully have a really good night of picks here, guys. Have a good one, guys. Take care. Peace. Bye.